Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me again. Before we get started in this week's video, I wanted to give you some information on coaching because I get a ton of questions regarding it. If you are interested in private coaching, it is something that I do. I will link everything down below so you can click and read all about the 3 different options that I do have. But I have an option for private coaching. It is a 6-week minimum in order to work with me, and the reason for that and the reason why I don't do individual sessions is because we're basically trying to heal, reprogram, and create new habits, create new ways of thinking, create how do you speak, how you speak to yourself, all of that reprogramming stuff. And that just takes time. That's not something you're gonna be able to do in an hour session. So the basics of my private coaching is to teach you these life skills that I always like to say in order for you to kind of run with it and after the 6 weeks is over, you know these skills and you begin implementing them in your life. I also have a 9-week program that just rolled out the beginning of the year. Actually, I think I rolled it out in December, but you guys are loving it and I'm so happy. I'm gonna link it down below as well. So it is a 9-week online course via my client portal. So each week you get a ton of reading information, and I'm talking a ton. So read and get ready to read, highlight, purchase these, take notes, read it over and over again. You have access to my private Facebook group where I do lives on there. It's very interactive. And it's just a great environment to be in, right? Because everyone's kind of going through the same stuff. So I love that group. With the 9-week program, this is really all about emotional healing. Really, this is where we're learning what our wounds are. We're learning how to parent ourselves and learning like the layers of how do you really become mentally and emotionally healthy. I mean, it's a tall drink of water, but it absolutely can happen. So it's basically what I teach in my private coaching, but it's condensed in 9 weeks. So that is something if you're interested in that. I also have an option for group coaching, and group coaching is not something that I do every single month. I did it last month. I am currently running a few groups right now, and I will do a few groups in February. So the start date for that is going to be February 3rd. The enrollment for those groups is going to be January 31st. The groups are very small. They're 3 to 4 people. I try to condense people based on what people are going through, location, things like that. Sorry for the ramble. Let's get into this week's video. I receive a ton of comments every single day asking me, why is this person that I was in a relationship, why are they not hoovering me? And I'm learning about narcissism. I'm learning that my ex is narcissistic, or the person I'm actually with right now is narcissistic. And you begin to learn this like hoovering method and like what this actually is. And then there's almost a lot of people that really get down on the fact that their ex isn't coming back or their ex isn't using this kind of tactic on them. And because they're pondering this, it's coming from that insecurity within yourself. And I really hate saying that, but that really is true. That means that there's something still going on inside of you that is unhealed, that it bothers you that this person is not coming back. So I wanted to give you some insight just on why this person is not hoovering you. So right off the bat, let's just accept the fact that the relationship you were in was 100% not normal. It is not normal to go from someone who is Prince Charming or the girl of your dreams to an absolute devil and monster. Let's just say that. Let's also accept the fact that the way you felt in this relationship is not the way the other person felt. And the reason being is because this person is incapable. Now, this sentence is really important. This person is incapable of having a healthy, normal, loving, respectful relationship. They will never have it. It doesn't matter who the person is that they're with. It is going to be no different from the person that they're currently with, to you, to someone that they were with 2 years ago. It doesn't really matter. It's all the same stuff. It's the same cycle that's going to happen over and over again. The only thing that's going to change is you, right? So the only person that's going to change is not going to be that person who's narcissistic. It's going to be the person that they're in the relationship with. So now a lot of people will ask me, well, I'm with someone and the relationship ended and they met someone else right away and now they're married, or they've been together for years and years and years. It doesn't really matter because you are a completely different person than the person that narcissist is now in a relationship with, and you can't compare the two. So there's obviously things within that new person that they're willing to deal with, regardless, wherever they are on their spiritual journey or their journey in this lifetime. They are on a different path and they're willing to accept different things than what you were willing to accept. Again, that's a great compliment for yourself if you look at it in that way. If you look at it like what could I have done? What didn't I do? And you come from all of this lack, or what does this person have that I didn't have? All of that stems from your own insecurities versus you kind of seeing the situation for really what it is and using more logic to help yourself through that kind of negative tape that's being played in your mind. So now if you have been in this relationship with someone who is narcissistic, then hopefully by now you've done enough Googling and searching and reading and watching videos to understand the cycle of abuse that you were probably in. You're starting to look back and reflect and see the patterns or see where things were unhealthy. You're probably gaining a little bit of strength now that you were out of that relationship and removed. So the first thing that you really need to understand is hoovering is just basically a fancy word for let me do a couple of things to see if I can still abuse you. To see if I can still get whatever it is that I want out of you. That's all hoovering actually is. The other important thing to understand about hoovering is that it has literally, I'm gonna repeat this probably 11 times, it has nothing to do with you. So whether or not someone is hoovering, that has nothing to do with you. Whether or not someone is not hoovering, it actually has nothing to do with you. It actually is more of a compliment for someone not to hoover you, and I'm gonna explain why. So the reason for hoovering is basically so the narcissist can use a few tactics on you, and usually a lot of those tactics kind of fall into the category of love bombing. So they can kind of come in and they're gonna be reasonable and they're gonna be, easygoing, and they're gonna be charming, and they're gonna do all the right things and say all the right things. They can pretend to be this character again, so you can see, oh look, there's that person that I once knew. So they're gonna come in, play this character to see whether or not you're bendable and you're gonna let them back into your life. And they wanna see if by me doing these gestures, these tactics of love bombing or whatever, will this person then give me what I want? So you can kind of start to see that if someone isn't hoovering you, that's because they have finally learned that no matter what they do, they're not going to get what they want from you. That's a great thing. That's a good thing. Now, a lot of the hoovering kind of techniques aren't necessarily love bombing. It could just be like simple things. So the relationship has ended, whether you ended it or the person ended it with you, and they randomly send you a text 3 months later. Hey, I just wanted to see how you're doing. I want to see if you wanted to be friends. Oh, I saw your sister in the store. I just wanted to call and say hi. It's just that like quick little like tap on the shoulder to be like, hey, I'm still over here, right? And the reason why they do this is all in an attempt to get back into your psyche, to make you wonder, to make you question, to make you ponder, to make you think about this person and that past relationship. So it's all kind of a ploy for them to get into your psyche so you can start asking yourself questions like, what went wrong in that relationship? How could that relationship work? What could I have done differently? And this is where the cycle starts, where we begin to question ourselves over and over again, or questioning the relationship. Did I do the right thing? Was I the best partner? So a lot of the times when you end the relationship, you'll tend to ask, is this person really that bad? Like, what did I do? And you kind of start questioning your decision. Or if someone left you and you were discarded, then the questions become, what did I do wrong? Maybe I was a nag. Maybe I was asking for too much. Maybe I should have been more flexible. Maybe I didn't try hard enough, and all of those types of things. Now, the reason why we tend to ask ourselves those types of questions is something called trauma bonding. And trauma bonding, and I've done videos on this, and if you guys don't know the term yet, I'll tell you, but for the most part, you probably have. But trauma bonding is when you've experienced a certain level of abuse and a certain level of praise time and time again in a relationship where you become then addicted to this person, you become addicted to this unhealthy pattern. Now, because you were in an abusive relationship, you went through the abusive cycle where things were good, things were bad. This person was appearing to be everything that I've ever wanted in a partner, and then the next day they began being manipulative and they were lying or they were cheating, and then abuse started happening, and maybe they were, physically abusing me, sexually abusing me, verbally abusing me, giving me the silent treatment, gaslighting me, whatever it is. And then they become Prince Charming again. And then it just keeps going around and around and around. Because you were on that hamster wheel and you received kind of almost like praise and then punishment and praise and then punishment. And because you came from your own wounds, those insecurities, because of those wounds that are inside of you, you looked at this relationship as this person as your source of survival. They gave you praise, they gave you love, they gave you validation, they gave you all the things that you weren't giving yourself. And then when they took that away, you craved that. You became addicted to that. And that's why you stayed in the relationship. And that's why you allowed the cycle to continue and continue, because you still needed the love and approval and the validation and all of those things that you were getting from that relationship. You still needed that. You're a human being. But because you were needing it from something outside of yourself, when it no longer happened, when you were no longer getting it, you became needy for it or hooked into this person, because this is the person that's giving you almost like air, so to speak. So when this person kind of almost becomes like your source of living, when something goes wrong in the relationship, you're going to absolutely internalize it and wonder, what did I do wrong? What could I have done? Rather than seeing the situation for what it is and holding someone else accountable. So you are subconsciously being programmed and conditioned to believe that you actually deserve this abuse, and not only on a subconscious, unconscious level think that you deserve their abuse, but you're always hoping to get back what once was. So when the hoovering starts to happen, again, those tactics that they're using on you, the reason for them is for that person to wonder, do you still think I'm a good person? Do you still believe that I'm this character? And so I'm going to do certain things in order for me to see if you still in some capacity think that I'm the person that you once loved or that you were once in a relationship with. So when a narcissist isn't hoovering you, that's because on some level they know that you're never going to be a good source of narcissistic supply. You're never going to give them what they want. And so they're not going to come anywhere near you. So it is a compliment if you don't get hoovered. Now, I know on some level you secretly might want it because it's soothing, like I said, that wounded part of yourself that's coming from that insecurity of maybe lacking control over where this relationship went, maybe an insecurity of you being discarded and then moving on, or you just being discarded, period, or that insecurity of questioning yourself on whether or not you made the right decision, and is this person actually a good person, but you can't see it. And it also comes from just honestly the I'm not enough story, I'm not good enough story. And really what that is you seeking validation from something outside of yourself. And really what that validation is you wanting it to come from this person. So really what a narcissist is doing when they leave and they never come back is they're basically telling you, hey, you actually saw me for who I am and you are not believing any of my BS. You're holding me accountable and you're not showing me what I want to see, which is just basically mirror back that I'm the best person and I can get away with whatever I want to get away with. So when a narcissist knows that you're incapable of giving them what it is that they really need, they're going to leave and they're never going to come back. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and I will see you next week.